So last weekend, at a card show, a guy walked up to my table with a stack of cards. Nice stuff. Some solid rookies, a few number parallels. He pulls out his phone, shows me recent eBay sales, and says, "I'll take 95% of comp on these." I look at him and say, "Are you selling or are you buying?" He goes, "Sell. Why?" And that's when I realized we needed to have the talk. The one I've had about 1,000 times at this point. Because here's the thing. Have you ever been frustrated when a dealer offers you 70 or 80% of what a card sold for on eBay? This video is for you. If you ever wondered why dealers price things the way they do, or why they won't just give you a deal when you're trying to buy from them, buckle up. Today we're breaking down the actual economics of dealing cards. No gatekeeping, no judgment, just the real numbers that most collectors never think about. Someone wants to sell me a card. They pull up eBay, show me it sold for 100 3 days ago. They want 90 or 95 cash right now. And when I counter with 70 or 75, I can see it in their face. They think I'm lowballing them, that I'm trying to rip them off. Then, this same person walks around the show, finds a card they want to buy from another dealer, and expect to pay what? 70, 80, maybe 90%? Do you see the problem here? We've got this weird thing happening where people want to sell at retail prices and buy at wholesale prices. And I get it. I really do. When you see your card sold for $100 on eBay, in your mind, that card is worth $100. It's right there in black and white. That's not actually what it's worth to a dealer. And more importantly, that's not even what it's worth to you once you factor in everything involved. Now, before we go any further, let me be crystal clear about something. There are dealers out there who are genuinely ripping people off. The guy who offers you 40% to buy your cards and then turns around and prices them at 200% of market value. Those dealers exist. They're bad for the hobby, and I'm not defending them at all. This video isn't about those guys. This is about the honest dealers, and there are a lot of us who are trying to run legitimate businesses or side hustles with fair margins. You encounter someone offering you 50 cents on the dollar and then selling at double market price. Walk away. That's not what we're talking about here. All right, now let's get down into it. Let's talk about math. Simple math. Let's use a real example. You've got a card that recently sold for $100 on eBay. Multiple sales, pretty consistent, good comp. First scenario, you listed $100 and charge the buyer $5 for shipping. This is actually pretty common, and it's what a lot of people do. Here's what you're really netting. Sale price, 100. eBay fees, 13.5% after they get their cut of the sale price. That's $13.50 gone immediately. Total now, $86.50. Shipping plus $5, the buyer paid you $5 for shipping, so the running total is $91.50. Actual shipping cost, bubble mailer, 75 cents. Top loader, penny sleeve, call it a quarter. Tape, labels, printer ink, 25 cents. Actual USPS shipping, $4.50. Totals $5.75. Running total, $85.75. Your time, how long does it take you to photograph the card? Write up a detailed description. Answer buyer questions, because someone always asks something. Print a shipping label. Package the card properly so it doesn't get damaged. And make a trip to the post office. Let's be really conservative and say 30 minutes total. If your time's worth $30 an hour, and honestly it should be worth more, that's $15 of your time. Running total, $70.75. Risk factor. This is the one nobody wants to think about. What happens if the buyer claims it arrives damaged? They don't like the centering and returning. Now you're out shipping both ways. eBay sides with the scammer who swaps your card, gets lost in the mail, and you have to refund them. The buyer leaves negative feedback over something, and it hurts your seller rating. I'm being conservative here, but let's assign a 5% risk factor for those things potentially going wrong. On a $100 card, that's $5 you need to mentally account for. Running total, $65.75. Time factor. Here's one that no one calculates. When you list the card, it might sell in a day, or it might take 3 weeks. During the entire time, your money is tied up. You can't use that $100 for anything else. You can't buy other cards with it. You can't invest in it. It's just sitting there, waiting. And if the market softens, if the player has a bad week, gets hurt, you might have to drop your price to 90, 85, 80 to get it sold. So that $100 card netted you about 66 after everything. And that's if everything went smoothly. Scenario 2, $100 card with free shipping. Well, looking at the other common approach, you list it for $100 with free shipping to be more competitive. Free shipping listings tend to rank higher in search results and convert better. So a lot of sellers do this. Sale price, $100. eBay fees, 13.5. Running total still $86.50. Shipping cost, you're eating these now. Bubble mailer, 75 cents. Top loader penny sleeve, that's a quarter again. Tape, labels, printer ink, you get the gist, still 25 cents. Actual cost of shipping, $4.50. That total there is $5.75. Your running total, $80.75. Your time, $15. Same 30 minutes of work, $65.75. Risk factor, $5. Same risks apply. Running total, $60.75. So at free shipping, you're netting even less, about $61 on that $100 card. But here's the trade-off. Your listing is more competitive, it might sell faster, and buyers tend to prefer free shipping psychologically. The point is, either way, you're nowhere near $100 in your pocket. Okay, scenario 3, high-end cards. Now let's be fair here. The economics change when we're talking about expensive cards. If you've got a $1,000 card, the math looks different. Sale price is $1,000, eBay's 13.5%, so now you're down to $865. Shipping costs, insured this time, $15. Running totals $850. Your time, $15. Same thing. Now you're at $835. Risk factor, 5%. $50. Your running total is $785. So now your $1,000 card, you're netting about $785 if everything goes smoothly. That's 78.5%. Now, if a dealer offers you $750 cash on the spot, that's a much smaller gap. You're only giving up $35 in exchange for instant money, zero risk, and zero hassle. Some people will take that trade, some won't, and that's fine. Both choices make sense. But on a $100 card where you're netting $61.66, after all costs and I offer you $70.75 cash, I'm actually offering you more than you're clear selling it yourself. That's why a lot of experienced collectors have a threshold. They'll sell cards under $200 or $300 to dealers all day long because the math works. But high-end stuff worth $1,000 plus, they might take that time to sell those themselves because the margins make it worth the effort. Then there's the dealer side or dealer's reality. So let's flip it around. When you sell that $100 card to me for $75, here's what I'm dealing with. Table cost. I paid somewhere between $100 and $600 for this table, depending on the show. Some of the bigger shows, we're talking $800 to $1,000 for a table. For me, for a 2-day show, that's my overhead before I've sold a single card. I need to move a lot of inventory just to break even on the table cost alone. Then there's travel and hotel. I travel 3 hours to get here. Hotel for 2 nights, $250. Gas, $60 each way. Meals add up to another $100 over the weekend. We're talking $470 in costs that have to be spread across every single card I sell this weekend. Obviously, this differs a bit for a local show with no hotel costs, but you get the point. Then there's show supplies and infrastructure. Display cases, $200. Card storage boxes, $50. Price tags and supplies, $30. That's another $280 that needs to be amortized across all of my sales. These are obviously not every show, but they are real costs. My time. I spend 6 to 8 hours prepping inventory before the show, pricing cards, organizing them, researching comps, planning my layout. Then I'm standing here for 8 to 10 hours a day for 2 days. That's 20 plus hours of work for this one show. This isn't passive income. This is exhaustive labor. Then there's inventory risks. That card I just bought for you for $75, I'm going to price it at $90 to $95. It might sell this weekend. It might sell next month. It might sit in my inventory for 6 months. The player might get injured tomorrow. It drops to $50. The market might shift. A reprint might be announced. I'm taking all of that risk. Then there's the turnover game. Here's what most collectors don't understand about the dealer side of the business. I don't make money on one card. I make money on volume and turnover. I need to buy cards, sell cards, buy more cards, sell more cards, constantly cycling inventory. If I pay too close to retail prices, my margins disappear and I literally can't afford to stay in business. Those tables, costs, travel expenses, and my time don't go away. They're fixed costs that have to be covered. I had a guy once tell me, but you're going to sell this for $90 and you only paid me $75. That's a $15 profit. You're ripping me off. And I had to explain. After table costs, travel, time, and accounting for cards that don't sell or drop in value, that $15 margin is what keeps me in business. It's not gouging. It's just survival. Let's say I sell 50 cards this week at an average of $15 margin. That's $750. My costs for the show are around $800. I'm actually losing money until I hit a certain threshold of sales. The first 50 plus cards I sell just cover my costs of being here. Of course, there's the grading gamble. All right, here's another one. I hear all the time at shows. Yeah, bro, you're just going to grade that card and make a killing on it. People see a dealer buy a raw card for 75 and they assume they're going to send it to PSA, get it back to PSA 10, and suddenly it's worth $500. Easy money, right? Not even close. Let me walk you through what actually happens when dealers grade cards, because this is another massive layer of risk and cost that most collectors never consider. Grading costs. First, you pay the grading company. PSA is around 25 to 30 per card, unless you're a member, then 20. The lowest service level right now. That's if you're willing to wait months. Want it back faster? You're paying 75, 100, 150 plus, depending on the card, how quickly you need it. So that $75 card I just bought, I'm immediately into it for another $20, maybe 25, maybe 30, just to get it graded, assuming I have time. Speaking of time, the time factor. Your money is now completely locked up. That card goes to PSA or BGS, CSG, doesn't matter. And you won't see it again for anywhere from 30 days to, heck, nowadays, what are we talking, 4 months? Depending on their backlog. During that entire time, you can't sell it. You can't do anything with it. It's just gone. And during those months, the player can get injured. Always injury. The market could cool off. A reprint could be announced. The card you thought was going to be a PSA 10 is now in limbo while the market moves without you. Of course, there's the grade risk itself. Here's the big one that people don't seem to understand. Not every card grades well. In fact, most cards don't grade as high as you think they will. You look at a raw card and think that's definitely a 9 or a 10, but PSA might see a tiny print line that you missed. Or the centering is 60-40 instead of 50-50. Well, there's a microscopic surface issue. Suddenly, your PSA 10 comes back a PSA 8. Don't forget, they have to be in a good mood. And the value difference between grades is massive. A PSA 10 might be worth 400. PSA 9, same card, 150. PSA 8, you're at 80. And now you've lost money after factoring in the grading fee. I've had cards I was confident would gem that came back as 9s or even 8s. It happens to everyone, even experienced graders. The difference between a successful grade and a failed grade can be the difference between profit and loss on a card. The damage and loss risk is another thing to consider. Cards get lost at grading companies. Not often, but it does happen. Cards get damaged in transit. Packaging fails. The grading company has insurance, but now you're dealing with claims, waiting for reimbursement, and dealing with headaches. I've had cards come back from grading with damage that wasn't there when I sent them in. What happens then? I eat the loss. That's my problem now, not yours. You already got paid. This is not common, but it does happen. Look, also, not every card is worth grading. This is crucial. Most raw cards are not worth grading. The grading fee plus the time and risk only makes sense if the card is likely to grade high, a 9 or a 10. The difference between raw and graded value justifies the cost. The card is actually in demand in graded form. A $100 raw card that's going to be 120 PSA 9, that's either break even or slight loss. But a raw card that could be a $400 PSA 10 may be worth the gamble if you know what you're doing. Most collectors overestimate how many of their cards are worth grading. I'd say 80% of raw cards I look at are not worth sending in because the math just doesn't work. And then there's the real economics. Let's say I buy a $75 raw card from you. I send it to PSA for 30, splitting difference between bulk value tiers. I'm now into it for 105. It takes 3 months to come back. During that time, the market softens a bit. Comes back a PSA 9. Now it's worth 140 instead of 180. I was hoping for it if it gemmed. I sell it for 140. After my table costs, my travel time, and other overhead all gets factored in, I made maybe 15 or 20 bucks on that card. And I took all the risk, and here we still are. That's not printing money. That's just running a business with calculated risks. So when someone says, you're just going to grade it and get rich, what they're really saying is, I don't understand the costs, the risks, and the failure rate of grading cards. And that's fine. Most people don't. And of course, there's bad actors. All right, let's address this elephant in the room that I mentioned earlier. There are dealers who are genuinely bad actors. I see them at every show. The guy who offers you $40 for a $100 card and then immediately prices it at $200. the dealer who's running a 400% markup on everything in their case, the person who tries to confuse new collectors with fast talk and takes advantage of inexperience. Those dealers exist, and they're terrible for the hobby. They make all of us look bad. They're the reason collectors have their guard up, and honestly, I wish they'd get pushed out of the hobby entirely. But here's what I need you to understand. Those guys are not the majority. Most dealers I know are honest people just trying to make a fair living in a hobby they love. We're offering 70 to 80% to buy because that's what makes business sense, and we're selling at 80 to 100% of market because that's what allows us to keep doing this. If you encounter a dealer who's wildly out of line in both directions, lowballing you at 40 and overpricing at 200, walk away. That's someone taking advantage, not someone running an honest business. But don't confuse reasonable business margins with getting ripped off. There is a huge difference between a 20 to 30% margin and a 200% markup. Then there's the value proposition. So when I offer you $75 cash for that $100 card, here's what you're actually getting. Instant liquidity cash in hand right now. Not in 3 weeks, not when your listing finally sells, not pending in your PayPal account for 3 days. Right now. You can use that money to buy something else at this show, pay a bill, take your family to dinner. Liquidity has real value. 2, zero risk. I take 100% of the risk when the price drops, damage, scams, returns, market shifts, and everything else. You walk away completely clean. The card is no longer your problem. 3, zero effort. You don't photograph anything, don't write descriptions, don't answer questions from buyers, don't package anything, don't drive to the post office, don't check your listing every day hoping it sells. Your time is freed up. 4, no fees or costs. You're not losing 13.5%. You're not buying shipping supplies. You're not spending gas to get anywhere. Every dollar I hand you is a dollar in your pocket. 5, guaranteed sale. You don't have to hope the right buyer comes along. You don't have to worry about the algorithm burying your listing. You don't have to drop your price multiple times. It's sold, done, moving on. When you actually add up everything I just walked through in those math sections, that $75 offer is usually better than your net selling yourself. And you got in instantly with zero hassle. Okay, real talk. Look, I'm not saying every dealer offer is perfect. And I'm certainly not saying you should take the first offer you get. Shop around, talk to multiple dealers, see who's fair and who's not, but understand the economics at play. When I offer 70 to 80% of a comp, it's not because I'm trying to take advantage of you. It's because that's what I need to offer to run a sustainable business while still being fair. And here's the thing. You have options. If you don't like my offer, you can try the next dealer down the aisle. Sell it yourself on eBay, hold on to it and wait for the market to improve. Trade it for something else. List it on ComC or another consignment platform. Nobody's forcing anything. The market works because buyers and sellers find prices that work for both sides. I've had people walk away from my offers, list the card themselves, and then come back in the next show and say, man, I get it now. That was way more hassle than I expected, and I barely made more money than you offered. Or I lost a little. And I've had people take my offer, use the cash to buy something else at the show, and leave happy because they made a deal that worked for them in that moment. So next time you're at a show and a dealer offers you 75%, 70%, don't automatically think you're getting ripped off. Run the math I just showed you. Factor in your time, your costs, your risk, your need for liquidity. If the numbers don't work for you, that's fine. Sell it yourself. But at least you'll be making an informed decision instead of an emotional one. And when you're trying to buy from a dealer, understand that they also ran the same math. They paid wholesale for their inventory, they're trying to sell at retail, and they need margins to cover their costs and stay in business. That's not greed. That's how every retail business on planet Earth operates. Now, if a dealer is asking for 200% of market value, yeah, that's nonsense. Walk away. But if they're at 90 to 100%, that's completely reasonable. And you shouldn't expect them to sell to you at the same price they paid for the card. The hobby is better when we all understand how this works. Dealers need inventory to sell. Collectors need outlets to sell to. It's a symbiotic relationship when both sides understand the economics and operate in good faith. Does it mean you should never sell cards yourself? Absolutely not. If you've got high-end cards, significant time to invest, and you want to maximize every dollar, selling yourself might make total sense. But for most cars, especially anything under a few $100, selling to a reputable dealer is actually the smarter financial move once you factor in everything. All right, that's it. Made it this far? Drop a comment. Let me know what's been your experience selling to dealers. Have you ever run the actual math on what you net selling yourself? I genuinely want to hear your stories and your perspectives. And if you found this helpful, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. If you want more videos like this, breaking down the business side of collecting that most people never talk about, no BS, just real numbers and real talk, leave a comment and let me know.